So today we have Nick Porter. We have some friends here live today. And this is obviously brought to you guys by Polly. And let me just introduce Nick Porter for you guys. So before I get into his exact title, I know Nick Porter. I know Nick Porter from actually working with him from, Excel assignments, from doing so many different things at the BYU MPA program. We started that in 2018 it was?
Yeah, that's right.
So 2018, first day, we actually had a group. So you had to have a group within the MPA, and I think it was 5 of us, if I'm not mistaken. That's the first time I met Nick Porter, who was, I would say, a leader of our group. And now today, he is the Public Information Officer, as well as the Management Analyst for Spanish Fork City. So nice to have you here today, Nick. Is there any words you want to introduce for anything else?
No, it's just good to see you again. I mean, our last semester ended abruptly, and
Right.
we went all online, and that wasn't kind of the ending anybody had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see you and all the things that you're doing great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, representing Spanish Fork City and the BYU MPA program, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. And it was awesome. I'm glad that we were able to sit down and really talk about certain things. As you know, Poly is an engagement platform, and our whole premise is to engage, really work with local municipalities so that they can have better engagement initiatives within their city. And there's so many different things that cities have to offer, right? And a lot of times residents don't know what it is. But today we want to get to know what you do, why you're doing what you're doing, and then who you are as a person. So we can get started first. My first question is, what made you go into the public sector? Like, how does that, who wakes up and say, I want to go into the public sector? Tell us your story.
So my whole family's in the public sector. I didn't realize it at the time, but my grandpa on my dad's side worked for Ogden City Public Works. His mom was a school teacher. My mom's parents, my grandpa was a constable and now a private investigator, and my grandma works at a school serving lunch. Mm-hmm. And then both my parents are teachers and counselors. So my whole life I've been looking at what the public sector is. In 2010, my dad ran for city council, was on the city council, and I actually did an internship in high school with South Ogden City. And that was my first exposure to what the public sector is. I'd always wanted to do business and be a businessman. Mm-hmm. And I found this local government where cities are businesses. They are corporations. They have all the business aspects, mm-hmm. but their purpose is service. Right. Their purpose is providing utilities and making a better life for people, and that just fit into who I am.
Wow. Well, that was well said, and I'm glad that there's people working within your capacity who's doing it with that in mind, right? And as we attended the MPA program, Romney Institute, that's what it is, right? Come forth to serve, and that's really the BYU's mission. But it really, really is hit on that when it goes to, studying and getting your master's in public administration. So I guess my next question to you is it seems like, when I first met you, I think you attended a school in Virginia, which was...
That's right, yeah.
What was it?
Southern Virginia University.
Southern Virginia University. And you sparked me, to be honest, as more of a business guy. Right, so a lot of times people always ask me, what made you get an MPA over MBA? It seems like you're in entrepreneurship, Kamel. So can you tell the audience, a lot of people, what is the difference? What is an MPA, and what is the difference between an MPA and an MBA, which is Master's in Business Administration?
Yeah, so I looked at both of those programs. I thought long and hard about getting an MBA, mm-hmm. But really this kind of what was instilled with me during that internship and being around and wanting to give back in the mm-hmm. public sector, that was kind of the differentiating factor. At BYU, it's really cool that the MPA the Romney Institute is inside the business school, the Marriott School. So there's a lot of crossover. I was able to take some of the information systems classes and learn some of those same business type courses, classes, activities, which has really helped me in this position. So I think that they're very similar, especially at BYU. They're both well-respected programs. But the MPA for me is where people were the bottom line and giving back and going forth to serve, like you mentioned.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And again, going forth to serve is really indicative of what you do right now for the city of Spanish Fork. But I know what you do for the city of Spanish Fork. Can you tell a little bit of what you actually do and really the day-to-day kind of operations of being a public information officer as well as a management analyst for Spanish Fork City?
Absolutely. So PIO for short, it's not, I'm not a police officer, as fun as that is, but really another way to look at it is kind of a communications manager. Marketing, branding, look at all of our website, our newsletters, and really I think my job boils down to educating and passing on information to all of our residents so they know what's happening, at the city. We have a city council that makes decisions, and how do those decisions affect, the residents? And so I really tried to educate and teach and get information out to show what we're doing as a city, why you should live and work and come start your business in Spanish Fork because of what we do and who we are.
Awesome. Well, that was well said as well. And this is Thursday Talks, right? Thursday Thoughts, where we really want to get deep. So one of the probing questions I would say is, what was the climate, the ecosystem within kind of the public information realm at Spanish Fork when you got there, and then how has it changed since you've been in that position?
So I'm the second and a half public information officer for the city. The position started 3 or 4 years ago, and it started with now the assistant city manager, who kind of took that role and to be the communications director and liaison. And then they hired a full-time PIO a couple of years ago. His name was Scott. He's the one who trained me, and I'm still riding on his coattails because he was so organized and had so many things kind of set up to just set me up for success. And that's been, it's been easy, and it's been a lot of fun to take those things that were built and continue to move forward. So one of the things, I'm glad we're live on Instagram, because that's been one of my focuses, is getting our Instagram following. It engages a little bit different audience in the community, and sharing stories and different content with them. So I think what's changed is you can find us on Instagram. We're working to have some more content. I know everybody's been limited by COVID, and that's changed a lot of things. As we kind of get out of that, we'll have some new programs where residents can come and engage with some of our department and division directors and get kind of a hands-on behind the curtain view. So that's kind of a teaser for something that's in the works right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, that's awesome. So what is the biggest problem right now, you say, with kind of your engagement initiatives, your reach? What would you say that would be right now as a PIO?
I think everyone wants information,
right,
and they want it now. And if we don't have that information out there, then they're going to go look somewhere else. They're going to ask somebody else, and they may not get the right information. So I think that's the biggest challenge, just in communications in general, is getting the right information at the right time so the right people can make the right decisions. That's a lot of rights.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is. It's having information available and easy to access, so that residents especially can come to the source of that information rather than trying to guess or make up an answer.
Right, and that's awesome to hear. That's our goal here at Poly, right? We want it to be easily accessible. We want it so that engagement initiatives across administration and residents, it's really right there. There's not, barriers of entry and things like that. So my question to you is, you're working within this capacity. What have you seen worked? As far as that initiative, what works? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it some unique niche thing that you're doing? What does that look like?
Well, I think if there was something that worked for every instance, we'd all be doing it.
Right.
And so, you found kind of an opening there with Poly, that there's a space there to get engagement. And I think for a lot of things, we've done some trivia and some questions and engagement on Instagram. We still have a newsletter that's printed out and mailed. And for the most part, a lot of our residents like that. So we continue to use that to get information out. But I'd say between that and Instagram stories, and then as we get back to where we can gather, we'll have some some open houses, some hands-on things that people can be a part of. I think what works is a variety of things that reach different people.
Exactly. All those segment groups. So we're live. What is one thing that you will want, not just Spanish Fork residents, but just residents across the board, right? Everyone lives within a town, some type of municipality, either it's unincorporated, et cetera. What would you want people to understand and know about city government? Is there ways that they can help? What does that look like?
As we were preparing to go live, I was talking with someone about working for a local government. And some people don't even know that that's a job opportunity, that you can work for your city or a different city and make a difference. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that city workers, city officials are people who care, who want to give back, who have certain skill sets and abilities that they're able to make cities better.
Right.
And so, I want everyone to know, especially in Spanish Fork, that you're in good hands, that the staff works tirelessly to make life better. We're the home and pride and progress in Spanish Fork, and we really, take pride in what we have, take pride that we've been a city since 1855 and have a lot of tradition, a lot of heritage, but we're always trying to be better, trying to reach that next step. So come to city council meetings, send us messages, give us a call. We want to hear. We send out a survey every year to get feedback, and we want feedback. That's how we design our plans.
Right. Well, I think that's awesome. Awesome to hear. One of the recent things that we've done is we're currently working with Lehigh City, and we're hoping to kind of roll out a survey where we can really, help them with their engagement initiative so they can get that feedback. We talked a lot about the municipal realm of things, but now I want to get more into who Nick Porter is as a person. So the first question, it seems like everything is going well for you at Spanish Fork. You're learning a lot. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Is it still working there? Is it the big dog position? What does that look like? I know you. I can. This is a question that I would really like to hear. I know. Working with you at the MPA program, I know you've aspired to be a city administrator. What does that look like for Nick Porter?
That's right. Ever since that internship in 2011, since the MPA program, I've wanted to be a city manager. I told our city manager that was, they asked me that question in the interview. Said, what's your future? Where do you want to be in 10 years? And I said, I want his job. And although I was serious about that, my future is at Spanish Fork. I love the organization. I love what we're doing. We're growing as a city. We're growing as an organization. We're doing a lot of great things, and I want to continue to be a part of it. It's where I moved my family there. They're able to participate in a lot of the recreation programs. We have the best trails and parks. I'm going to say in the state or in the country, but I love it there, and so that's where my future is, and I'll continue to learn from great mentors in our city manager and assistant city manager and other department heads. And maybe one day we'll take that step, and hopefully it'll be with Spanish Fork City. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
I love to hear that. So moreover on your free time, right? Last time speaking with you, a little more over in the fall, you were a referee, a high school referee. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about some activities, some of the things that you like to do when you're not in your position at Spanish Fork City.
So I've always been a sports guy. I love sports. There were about 4 people that I could talk about all sports with in the MPA program. You were one of them, so I appreciate that. I got into officiating before I could drive. I would ride my bike to a soccer game, officiate that, ride home, and I don't do soccer anymore, but that kind of opened the door to getting into these other sports. When I was at Southern Virginia University, I worked as the director of athletic communications. I worked on the basketball staff as the operations director. So I've been around sports all my life. My dad was a basketball coach and a baseball coach, and I tried to play. I didn't make the teams, and then I decided there's other ways to be involved in this, and that was through officiating or administration, and I really enjoyed that. So when I moved back to Utah and started the program, I also signed up to officiate high school basketball and football, and I loved it. This is my second season doing both. Yeah. We're short on officials, so anybody can sign up, and but I've been lucky enough to have great mentors in that as well, and some of our association presidents that have helped me and critiqued me and got me to a level where I've been doing some varsity games for both football and basketball. It's been a great privilege to do that and a lot of fun, and it's my gym membership. So
well, the Kansas City Chiefs could have definitely used Nick Porter, definitely during that first half. I'll throw that out there.
My friends make fun of me for watching the officials when I watch football. Mm-hmm. I got some texts, hey, these refs are doing great, or they were starting to notice that referees are out there. They're people too.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also a Tom Brady fan, so I don't know that helps the situation. Just stop holding.
Well, that was a bad PI call as well. But we'll get into that later. But this is Thursday Thoughts with Poly Platform. So it's not just an interview, right? You can ask me questions as well. So any questions for me, what I'm doing in Poly, anything you want to learn more about?
Tell me more about the name Poly. Where did that come from?
Yeah, no, for sure.
What does that mean?
So I always get that question, especially in the state of Utah. Obviously, we're out here, but I feel like it. You hear the Poly name, and then it just kind of spurs out for a lot of different thoughts. So really, it's more over a connection of many. Right, it's more than one, and that's really our goal here at Poly Platform. Is we want to strengthen connections within the community, within organizations, and we work with municipalities, but we also work with companies and schools. And we've seen that disconnect. As you know, we initially started off as mesh, and now it's more just focused for universities. But we've seen that this connection problem. Right, you have social media, but I feel like as much as technology grows, we're going to need a space where administrators have a voice that sticks. And that's what we want to do here at Poly. We want it so that administrators can actually connect, engage with their audience. And Poly is all about more than one connection. And that's really where that name came from.
I love that. And you got your MPA, and now you've gone into the private, focused on public sector.
Right.
Why the MPA, and now how does this all work?
Well, that's an awesome question. And a lot of times I tell people this is why I'm a strong component of the MPA program, because you can do so many things. And shout out to the BYU MPA program. But I strategically chose to go into the MPA opposed to the MBA. And I started in entrepreneurship far before I even went in this direction. And the main reason was because, one, I felt like there was a space within the public sector that needed to be improved. Secondly, I really am for going forth to serve. And I've always been, as you know, wanting to go into federal government and politics at state, local, et cetera. And again, I started off with MESH at the time, and it was more just for, students. But I started to see that the MPA was the best place for me, what I felt like was going to, one, encapsulate the goals of going into government, but at the same time, I was going to get all those managerial components, learning HR, how to manage all that type of stuff with the MPA as well. So I feel like the MPA, if that's something that you want to do and you want to learn more than just kind of operations, but also ethics and things like that, I'll go into the MPA, and that's why I chose it.
And you wanted to do federal government. Is that still in your mind, or are you now converted to local government?
Yeah, I don't. It's so crazy that you asked that, because I would have never. My first internship with the MPA program was actually interning for Eagle Mountain City, right in our backyard. And I didn't think that I would enjoy local government, but now I'm definitely a strong component of it. I enjoy it. So I would say right now, I wouldn't know what the future holds, but definitely local government is the space for me right now.
Love it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I really enjoy it. But what I would say, just to kind of close things out, is what was your best experience at the MPA program and then with me, Kamel Greene?
You're assuming those aren't the same thing. Just because you asked it that way, yeah. I'll answer it this way. Through the program, I was able to go to be a part of two associations, ICMA and UCMA. the international, and then the Utah City and County Managers Associations. Having a chance to rub shoulders with other city managers throughout the country, and especially throughout Utah, changed me. Those connections have helped me to grow, to learn different things, and I think to be a better public information officer and a better employee for Spanish Fork and just a better person. So I love that those opportunities existed, that I was able to go to Baltimore and I was able to go to Nashville to these conferences and down to St. George and West Valley to UCMA, because those are my people that care and serve and are in public service to help people. So that's what I loved about the MPA program. The thing I love about you the most is that you don't quit and you don't ever give up. Those are kind of the same thing, but I want to distinguish those because you're so tenacious. You do so much. I don't know how you do what you do because I couldn't do it. But I'm thinking of some of the presentations we did on our team and just your ability to stand up and take the attention and really connect with everyone that you're speaking to. I love that. I think to me, you represent Poly because you've been able to connect so many people and so many different things.
Wow.
I love you, man.
Hey, I love you too. Well, I think that's Thursday Thoughts for you. And that's kind of what we want to keep. We want to keep this trend where it's deep talks, but we're actually thinking about it. We bring people on who really have an advanced career, and they help within those spaces that we're going after, from the municipal, the company, and the school area. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you so much. And we definitely have to stay and connect with each other. But thank you, Nick Porter. I'm glad to have you here.
Privilege for me. Thanks, Kamel.
Awesome. Well, this is Poly Platform, Thursday Thoughts. We're out of here.